Guys, we're now out of session and we're back before the committee.
We,
Um,
we back in session, Madam
we're back in session. We're
Thank you.
out of session. Um, Representative Mitchell was just talking about choices that women make. You know, we have at the federal level, we have the Lilly Ledbetter Act. That has very serious consequences for anybody who is not who is discriminating by gender. We also have additional protections. We have Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits employers with at least 15 employees from discriminating against their employees based on a variety of factors, including gender. And in 2009, like I said, the Congress passed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, which extended the statute of limitations for filing a pay equity lawsuit. Are you an attorney by any chance?
I just so happen to be an attorney.
Exactly. And this proposed state law, it would be extremely litigious, wouldn't it?
Well,
It would probably be very litigious because it would be a little bit different than these other two acts, but would it not be litigious? Would this not stand to benefit you as an attorney?
Stand to benefit me as an attorney? No, it would
Personally,
stand
as
to
an
benefit
attorney.
women with equal pay.
Would it stand to bring you more business as an attorney? Possibly.
Well, can I answer the question?
Because this is a very litigious bill.
You're,
This really is.
can I answer the question?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the question, and that's a good point. It's not a fair point, and it's not an accurate point, but just like any law that creates a civil right of action, laws are only as litigious as they are violated. So, if every employer paid women equally, then there would be no cause of action and no need for litigation. So, if we can put laws in place that protect women, I bring this law in the memory of my grandparents, in honor of my sisters, my mother, to stand up for women and make sure that women are paid equally. Women don't make a choice to be paid less. The numbers were presented earlier about the disparity in women. The interesting thing about women making between 77 and 83 cents on the dollar for men, that's worse for African American women and Hispanic and Latino women who earn between 55 and 64 cents on the dollar. So this right of action, this civil cause of action, and additional protection to ensure equality, protect families, and stand up for working people in the state of Tennessee is not to create business. It's not to create business for me. It's not to create business for my colleagues. It is to protect women. It is to bring our state into the year 2016 and make sure that women are treated equally to men and paid equally to men. It is offensive that women with advanced degrees are more likely to receive worse compensation than men. They have the biggest pay disparity in the state. Personal financial advisors are paid 61.33% of men. Physicians and surgeons are paid 62.24% of men, and chief executives are paid 69.99% of men. Now, the question then is, why is that?
I have another question.
Okay.
I do not know where you're getting your information from, but did you know that in 2009, the Department of Labor's report showed that women have closed the pay gap almost entirely, and because what Representative Mitchell pointed out is that there are life factors, decisions that women make, and I'm a perfect example of decisions that women make. I stayed home with my children until my youngest was went to first grade, and then I only worked hours that were convenient for schooling. I delayed finishing my college education because of raising my children. Then I chose jobs that were close to their school. We even moved to a house that was close to their school because I wanted to be available for my family. And I know lots of women who make those choices. And thank God women make those choices. With children need their parents, and particularly their mother. And thank God that women do make those choices and they can be close by. But in 2009, according to a report prepared by the U.S. Department of Labor, the factors that include that a larger percentage of women work in part-time jobs, a larger percentage of women were in the workforce. At some point, they leave for childbirth or to care for children or elderly relatives, and women tend to value family friendly employment policies, which I'm a perfect example of all of this, including better benefits such as health care with a trade off in salary. The study concluded that after adjusting for these variables, the remaining wage gap was negligible. It was actually negligible. And here you are, an attorney, bringing to the state of Tennessee a very litigious bill, and we already have federal laws that women can take advantage of, and they do take advantage of it. But there's already a federal law that they can take advantage of it. Now, maybe it's not as favorable as you'd like. Maybe you would like more business. I don't know. But that does concern me. It absolutely concerns me. You know, we're always concerned down here when insurance agents have insurance bills, and we see, you know, other professionals with bills in their own profession, and this is very, very disturbing.
And I know we've seen a lot of those bills this year, and you reference insurance agents, and I know Representative Pody's and insurance agents had those type of bills this year. But let me address some of your points. And thank God you had the opportunity to make the choices that you made.
It was hard. It was hard.
I understand that, but
it was actually very, very hard.
I appreciate that.
But we did that only because between the two of us, that was our choice. My husband and me, that was our choice. That was the decision we made. And I don't regret it. In fact, I'd pay you $1 million today if I could go back and relive all that time. And I wouldn't have taken $1 million right then if someone offered it to me, because I would prefer to have the arrangement that we had so that I could have that time with our children.
And Chairman Lynn, I appreciate that, and thank God you had the opportunity to make that choice. But a lot of women across the state of Tennessee don't have the opportunity to make that choice. 300,000 households in the state of Tennessee are run by women. They don't have that choice. They're working 1, 2, 3 jobs to support their families. They don't have the opportunities that you were blessed to have. They don't have the opportunities that maybe my wife was blessed to have.
Can they not sue under the Lilly Ledbetter Act?
The Lilly Ledbetter Act supersedes the Ledbetter versus Goodyear tires law and addresses statute of limitations. The Civil Rights Act,
Title IX of the Civil Rights Act, they can.
Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, and it's 1964. The Equal Pay Act is in 1963, which created the Fair Labor Standards Act. They create some protections. Now, the difference is we're trying to put state protections in place. Tennessee has a lot of laws that provide protections for people based on race, class, color, gender, other things. Fair Labor Standards Act is a perfect example. Tennessee has its own Fair Labor Standard Act. Those laws are in place to provide protections. What we're trying to do is to make sure those protections continue. You addressed that the pay gap was decreasing in 2007. I've seen those talking points from the NFIB and others. Based on the information I have, it will take 43 more years to close that pay gap. Now, if it's shrinking, that's great, but it's going to take 43 more years before it gets to the point where it's even. Now, that is what we're trying to correct. And if the laws in place were sufficient, the pay gap wouldn't exist. So what we're trying to do is fast forward this and close the pay gap, because I'm not going to wait 43 years for my wife to be paid as much as me. I know Representative Mitchell's not going to wait for his wife.
I have one last question. I'm an economist. As an economist, if there was literally a labor source that I could pay 20% less than another labor source, labor is the number one expense for business. So why would there not be full employment under the labor source that was 20% less expensive than the labor source that was 20% more expensive? Why would there not be full employment? What you're saying, really doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. And when
The point you seem to be making is that we should incentivize people to be paid less. Is that correct? Am I misunderstanding what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is obviously there is not full or more employment among women than among men to that degree at all, and therefore naturally there absolutely would be. It doesn't make sense if what you're saying is actually true. Representative Cassiter, did you have
Madam Speaker,
something?
I move previous question.
May I answer the question?
Previous question has been called. Is there objection to the question? Okay, we will vote on previous question. All right, Madam Chair, take the vote on previous question.
Representative Cassida? Aye. Representative Eldridge? Aye. Representative Mitchell? No. Representative Pody? Aye. Representative Turner? No. Chair Lady Lynn? Aye. 4 ayes, 2 nays.
May I make my
previous question prevails. So the question has been called for. No, that cuts off all debate.
It was parliamentary procedure.
Okay, except for the sponsor. So yes, you may make a closing remark.
Again, Madam Chair and committee and staff, I appreciate your time today and your patience with this important debate. It's not my intent to be adversarial in this regard. I simply am trying to stand up for women, ensure equality, increase transparency, provide for families, and shatter the glass ceiling. That is the purpose for this legislation. I would respectfully request your support of this legislation and make sure that women in Tennessee get the respect they deserve. And with that, I thank you again, Madam Chair and committee and staff. Thank you.
Madam Secretary, please take the roll. We are voting on the bill, House Bill 1947.
Representative Cassida? No. Representative Eldridge? Representative Mitchell? Representative Pody? No. Representative Turner? Chair Lady Lynn?
No.
4 noes, 2 ayes.
I'm sorry, Representative. Your bill does fail today, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair, committee, and staff.